Welcome guys. In today's video, I'll show you the optimal way of training your reflexes as well as 5 training routines to help you become a better player on the battlegrounds. But first, make sure you leave a like so the algorithm grants you pro PUBG Mobile skills. Let's begin. Enter the cheer park and approach this stone. Tap the button in order to enter a private training room. Routine number 5. Long-range recoil training. The goal of this routine is to improve your ability to control full auto recoil. It'll be optimal to use a 5.56 assault rifle, but you can use your weapon of choice. Accuracy improvement drill. Shoot each of the last 5 targets on the right side of the training grounds. Empty 1 magazine for each one and try as much as possible to keep your shots within the black area. It's okay if you fail, just try again and again until you feel like you have decent control over your weapon. The purpose of this exercise is to train your ability to maintain precise focus with long sprays. If you can master this drill, the rest of the exercises will be relatively easy. Mid-range recoil control. Set up standard training with a static target 90 meters away for 10 rounds with 250 health. Shoot it until it's down. It doesn't matter if you have to reload several times, but if you can do it for 10 rounds in a row with a single magazine for each spray, it means that you've mastered this skill. This exercise is similar to the previous one, but it's slightly more difficult and you will simulate real control because the target is closer to the size of a player. Dynamic distance recoil control. Set up standard training with static targets at all distances for 10 rounds with 50 health. Shoot them in order from the closest to the furthest. Close range targets will be a lot easier to eliminate. But the nature of this exercise is progressive, which means that the further you go, the more difficult it gets. For this reason, this training is dynamic because it will test your ability to control the recoil at all possible distances. However, keep in mind that in a normal game, full auto spraying at the longest ranges present in this drill is pointless. But it's still beneficial to train this skill because it helps you be more precise in direct combat at medium ranges. Routine number 4. Optimal use of cover. The goal of this routine is to improve your muscle memory when using any type of cover that requires you stand to shoot and crouch for cover. Attack and cover agility training. Take cover behind this stone, stand up, aim, and shoot at the same time when attacking your target. After firing about 5 bullets, take cover again and do the same for the next target. Do it with all side targets because this way you adapt to your angle of cover, thus ensuring that this exercise is more effective. The purpose of practicing this skill is to improve your fluidity in the use of cover to attack your opponent quickly and not give him any time to react. The purpose of this skill in an actual fight is to cause confusion in your enemy as you repeatedly fire in cover in order to prevent an effective counterattack on their part. Combination of agility with aim reflexes. Use this car as flat cover in the shooting range. You don't need to set up any training, but if you want to do it, it's optional. Quickly shoot a target and take cover every time you eliminate one. Do this quickly. The purpose of this exercise is to combine the agility skills that you practiced earlier with precise focus on a moving target. For this reason, it's better to progress without any training configuration in order to increase the unpredictability of the practice. That way, you'll improve your ability to adapt your agility and reticle focus to any situation with cover. Use of low cover. There are times in classic games where you don't have appropriate cover available, so you have to adapt to the situation. In the case of having cover of this height, you have to practice leaning while in cover. When reloading, you can't maintain the lean button, so make sure to go prone when doing this as your head could be exposed. Note that advanced leaning is optimal for this exercise as this technique unlocks the peeking and aiming mechanics. But if you're using basic leaning, which means that when you peek you automatically aim, you'd better practice alternating between proning for cover and standing to shoot. Routine number 3. Perfect peeking training. Perfect leaning is when you are as close to cover as possible while still focused on your target. This is how it looks from the enemy's point of view. Unfortunately, most people are unaware that they're exposing their body when peeking, thus defeating the purpose of this mechanic. The purpose of this training routine is to minimize the exposure of your body when leaning in order to eliminate bad habits. Exposed leaning correction. In this exercise, you will learn to focus on a target and use the joystick to limit your exposure to danger. Once you're agile with this technique, it's time to move on to exposed leaning correction with shooting. The purpose of this exercise is to simulate a real confrontation with a previous technique. Now, you'll have more pressure to maintain precision on your target while using the joystick to correct the distance of error in your peeking. Joystick precision and focus accuracy. This exercise is designed for you to practice the precision of your joystick while maintaining a perfect lean, along with angular rotation relative to cover. Now, you can shoot to ensure you maintain precise focus while maneuvering with cover, exposing as little of your body as possible. Single fire repeated leaning. Take cover behind this stone and synchronize repeated leaning with single fire movements towards any target of your choice. The purpose of this drill is to optimize your agility with your movements to confuse your opponents and dodge their bullets while shooting at them from a distance in single fire mode. It's especially useful for fighting a bolt-action sniper, but thanks to its low accuracy, its optimal use is providing suppressing fire. It is primarily designed for advanced leaning users, but if you use basic leaning, you can simply slide repeatedly with your joystick, but the downside is that your movements will be more predictable, so it's best to do this when you have a level 3 helmet. Routine number 2. Close range combat techniques. Close range combat is often chaotic and heavily dependent on hip reflexes. The purpose of this routine is to improve your accuracy and speed and hip reflexes in order to effectively deal with an opponent at close range. Hip to level accuracy. Stand in front of this target with a barrel M762 equipped with a laser sight. Start by looking down, but quickly focus on the target and shoot. This drill will help you improve your accuracy at head level to increase the chance of generating more damage with headshots. Hip to level accuracy and motion. Practice the same exercise as before, but now add alternating movement to simulate a real confrontation with an enlarged reticle and difficult precision. Make sure to keep your reticle pointed at the target as much as possible. The purpose of this exercise is to train your tracking of a static target with the added difficulty of movement. Horizontal movement tracking at head level. Use any straight line at head level to practice this exercise. Make sure you keep alternating motion while shooting consistently from left to right. Also, it's important to keep your center dot as close to the edge as possible. The purpose of this drill is to improve your ability to track the head of a moving target at close range. Reticle positioning and evasive movements. Jump and quickly focus on your target. Start jiggle movements while combining everything with crouching. Keep your reticle in your target at all times, but don't stop your evasive movements. The purpose of this exercise is to improve your agility and muscle memory by taking many movements into account at once to confuse your enemy about your exact position. These moves will make your opponent lose precision on you, but since you practice positioning the reticle, it will be easier for you to eliminate him in less than a second. Reticle positioning and prone reflexes. Run to the side in relation to your target. Go prone, and as you fall to the ground, focus your reticle on your target. The purpose of this drill is to provide you with an extra skill when confusing your opponent while shooting. This can give you extra time in case of emergency when you begin to get unexpectedly shot. Also, your reticle will be smaller so the bolt spread will be tighter, thus improving your precision. Keep in mind that you must develop critical thinking in order to know when not to use this technique, because the biggest disadvantage is that it limits your movement. Routine number 1. Reflex training. The objective of this routine is to improve your reflexes and muscle memory for certain movements that require fast reaction time combined with high precision. Basic static target transfer. Shoot and transfer your reticle focus from one target to another. Stop your shots when moving between targets. The purpose of this exercise is to improve your basic transfer skills between large targets as they do not require as much precision. Fill your backpack with ammo and practice this exercise until you run out of bullets. Then move on to the next one. Target transfer and accuracy at the shooting range. Prepare the standard training with the 3 closest targets with 50 health and static movement for 10 rounds. Take down all 3 targets with a single magazine and continue shooting. Don't worry if it takes more than 1 mag, this just means that you need more practice. But whenever you can do it for 10 rounds without failure is when you know you have mastered this technique. The purpose of this exercise is to improve your accuracy and speed by transferring your focus from target to target in times of emergency. This technique is especially useful when you're fighting a full squad. Target transfer and tracking at the shooting range. Set up standard training with the same settings from the previous exercise, but add 25 to 50% movement. You'll be practicing the exact same skill as before, but now you're adding a new layer of difficulty that will require movement tracking. The purpose of this exercise is to simulate moving targets and thus prepare you for a real confrontation in which you'll have to combine transfer, tracking, precision in order to take down several opponents at the same time. If you're a beginner, it's recommended to set 25% movement, but if you have already mastered target transfer, set 50% movement. Reaction and accuracy on the shooting range. Set up reaction training with the first 3 targets and 2 seconds of reaction time. Every time one appears, you'll have to react before missing the shot. This exercise will improve your reflexes and accuracy so that you can react quickly against an unexpected threat. The correction distance between your focus and target will be corrected quickly when practicing this exercise as you won't have time for mistakes. Practice this skill until you can eliminate all targets without a problem. Now, you can decrease the time to just 1 second to further improve your reflexes. Keep in mind that with this setting, it will be almost impossible to avoid mistakes, especially when reloading. Your reactions will have to be extremely quick to stay consistent in this exercise. You'd better get used to missing shots. It's more common than you think, and only with the frustration that this exercise causes will you have the motivation to improve even more. Reaction training outside field of view. Go to the middle of the shooting range, run at one direction, and quickly react backwards, fire at any target of your choice. Crouching while shooting is optional, but it goes a long way in controlling your recoil and confusing an opponent in a hypothetical situation where they are unexpectedly shooting you from behind. This drill will improve your ability to react effectively to a surprise attack from behind, providing you with skills that will improve your muscle memory should you ever find yourself in such a situation in a classic game. An enemy generally doesn't expect someone to react so aggressively to being attacked like this because most people panic and start to move evasively, which eventually leads them back to the lobby. Make sure you practice these drills daily for 10 days for optimal results. This way you'll become a much better player, but after that, once you're ready, enter arena mode and compile everything you've learned in a much more dynamic environment.